wireless shit show, 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 wireless shit show. It's dark matter. Wireless shit show, wireless shit show, wireless shit show, wireless shit show, wireless shit show. It's dark matter.
5, 4, 3, 2.
What's up, everybody?
I can't believe it's 2024.
Happy New Year, 2024.
Happy New Year.
Glad you all survived.
Did they survive? Did we really survive?
I mean, if they're here, they survived 2023. So congratulations to all of you.
Congratulations. Welcome to the shit show.
Quick show update. Thank you all. We hit 400 subs. We are at 426 subs. We are at 426 as of today of this recording. We put up the challenge on X.
I refuse to call it X.
Yeah.
I refuse saying X as well. Whoa.
X, formerly known as Twitter.
The social media. DX? Remember DX from WWF? Of course, Kintaro knows that one.
This is one of those references Iceman will never get. I'm gonna find.
never get that one.
I'm gonna have to find some DX footage, throw it in there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
WWE is gonna sue our asses.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
So hit that subscribe button so we can get monetized and we get paid for the law.
Yeah, pay for the lawyers,
the lawyers and the legal fees, so we can
footage.
Yeah, so we can continue stealing up the WWE footage. So yeah, thank you all. I'm super happy about that.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
You know, it's been a crazy ramp up. Thanks for everybody commenting on our posts and our episodes. Truly love that. Anyway, how was Christmas and New Year's for you all? Iceman, I know you're in the darkest place on earth right now in the winter of...
I'm in the darkest place on earth. I spent most of my Christmas squeeze days and everything like that with chaperoning 12 teenage kids in the mountains skiing. They were troopering on. There was negative 22, below 22 degrees Celsius. Was really, really cold. I'm proud of them, but it meant that I didn't do very much in that sense. And then I got back and celebrate New Year's a little bit here with some friends. And squeezed in whole heaps of YouTube videos. I'm so sorry I've been pestering social media and YouTube, and I tried to reach my goal of monetizing my own channel, and I managed in the end. So I'm gonna relax a little bit now.
Congratulations, man!
Holy crap, that's huge. That takes so much.
I was why is
much more?
Why is Iceman streaming so much and uploading so many video clips in the last couple of weeks? And then I was to realize, dude, he was trying to hit that watched hour.
He was trying to hit that, and then he was crushing it too. Like, you were putting out friggin', oh, hey, by the way, do you want a Bluetooth to your Proxmark? Do you want a Wi-Fi to your Proxmark? Like, it's super useful stuff, man. This is stuff that I wanted to do for ages. So thank you. Thank you for all the things you've done and the work. And I know there's a community too. So freaking awesome. Congratulations. You deserve it for sure.
So if you are subscribed to us, but not to Iceman, you're doing it wrong. You're subscribed to both of us, you know.
Yeah.
So if you get 500 subs, we are raiding Iceman's channel. We're going over to Iceman's channel one day. We'll do a collab on his channel going, yo. Right? And it will be hosted on his channel, right?
Maybe we do a secret video on his channel.
500 subs.
Drop a bunch of Easter eggs.
Promise. So if you want us to be showing up on his channel, go.
We'll do it. Kintaro and I will do a channel takeover of Iceman's channel.
So that's not even a threat. That's a promise.
Oh, that's a damn promise.
That's a damn promise. How was your holidays, Mike or Dark Matter?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing, and I'm so thankful. Had an amazing time. I didn't chaperone 12 kids because guess what? We didn't have any of that snow you had, Iceman. I wanted that snow. I wanted it. I wanted it very deeply.
You didn't have snow in Utah?
No, this has been a crazy dry year. We had one big storm, and then I went skiing one time and it was icy, so we haven't really. But however, since then it's been like a marathon of kids and presents and gifts and New Year's and running around, and it's been amazing. It's been super awesome. And then on top of it, because we're doing CES is for Apex, we've got a booth at freaking CES.
That's very cool.
Like, it blows my mind. Like, I was in Black Hat, Europe. Carfuckers, no, the only good place is the Startup Village. I applied and we got approved and accepted, and so it's blowing my mind. Now we're having a booth at CES. So turns out there's a lot of planning that has to go into that. So I've been doing a shit ton of planning to get a booth ready, get cards ready, get hardware ready, get proofs of concept ready for demos. So yeah, next week I'm gonna be all down in Vegas, doing the Vegas thing. This is like the first year, like it's gonna be about me and my products, my brain matter. I don't know. I'm on a high, man. It's super exciting. I'm not ready, but I'm ready. So we're gonna figure it out.
I say.
So well, thank you. I hope it leads to big things, and I hope
it's not
we
like
can
we
do
want
big
to be
things.
there.
So.
You know, we want to be there with you in the booth, and then we want to take you to Washington. You know, we go to Schmoo now.
And then that's the crazy part, because I already planned Schmoo before that. So it's like Thursday night, I'm taking a red eye to get to ShmooCon Friday morning. So that way I can bring the box and some cards and some fun things to ShmooCon to show people. Because last year at ShmooCon, I was showing off my prototypes. I didn't have hardware. A year ago, I didn't have fucking hardware. All I had was prototypes that kind of worked. They didn't really work. Let's be honest. My prototypes never work. Right, Kitaro?
I wasn't going to go there, but since you brought it up, yeah.
Hey, but the second revision of all my shit is fucking amazing. It usually comes out great. So
you're like Apple.
Yeah, I'm like Apple. Like, don't buy the iPad 1, buy iPad Gen 2, and it changes the world. So fingers crossed my Gen 2 changes the world. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, so then I'll be at Shmoo. So yeah, like I don't see an end in sight. Like it's just back to back to back, and also have a day job too, turns out. So I gotta do all the day job thingies too. So life is amazing. I feel wonderful right now. I'm like on cloud 9. I had an amazing time. Now, Kitaro, tell us about your New Year's and tell us about your holidays, man. What happened with you?
So Christmas was good with the family, except my older kid who was home came down with a nasty flu. So he's fine now, but it was a bit of a rough patch again. And for those who don't know, in Japan, everything kind of shuts down around the 28th till the 3rd. Like all the stores, banks, post offices. So people travel a lot far away to go back to where their family is, and then you might have heard on the news that we had a massive earthquake on January 1st.
So scary.
Afternoon, 7.6, which is a large-scale earthquake, which caused a tidal wave warning. People got displaced because of that. It turned into 24-hour disaster news broadcasting. So it was since 3/11, the big earthquake 12 years ago. What has happened is that there's a national alert system on the cell phone. So whenever there's a big earthquake, no matter where in Japan, your phone goes off with this really loud beep warning you, and it's usually like a 3 or 4 second prior warning, because that's the longest time they can measure what they call a P wave, which is a specific frequency wave that gets emitted prior to an earthquake. So the moment any of the national sensors picks that up, it issues a little alert. So basically, it was like a day of the TV, the phones, everything just going, earthquake. Luckily, I'm on the other side of the island. A lot of people reached out and asked me if I was okay. Thank you all for reaching out. Fortunately, I'm okay, and so is my family. I had some friends who were affected because they have family out there, but they're all alive. However, their families are now evacuated. But I was talking prior, to the recording of this show to Iceman, that when the 3/11 earthquake happened 12 years ago, that was the first time in my life that I feared for my life from an earthquake. So this earthquake, when everything went off again, it was just like I had flashback. It was like it was a traumatic event, flashbacks, and
took you right back.
Yeah, it took me right back, and I felt for the people.
PTSD.
Dude, and my heart goes out so much to anyone affected by this. And that's so tragic.
It is. I mean, we still don't know the full devastation of the earthquake, because on that side of Japan, there's a lot of smaller villages that have one lifeline coming in and the one lifeline going out, and they're cut off because of landslides, or the roads are broken up. We won't know for a while how many people potentially are fully affected. It's also causing a lot of issues with distribution. So some of these hard to reach places, they're out of food now. They're on the colder side of Japan, and there's a massive winter storm coming in right now this weekend.
Jeez.
So
Insult to injury.
Yeah, and that was not it. You showed me something about this airplanes crashing as well.
and then
God, that was horrific.
And then we had a airplane collision on
A-bus A350.
Yeah, 350 with the
Japanese Air.
With the Japanese Coastal Guard plane. And now this was a tragedy because of a tragedy. The Japan Coastal Guard plane was ready to ship surpluses and rescue people to the disaster-struck area. And it looks like the captain mistook the order for move into position 1 as go flight from the tower. As it moved into the place, the Japan Airlines plane hit it head on, burst into flames. Luckily, all of the passengers on the Japan Airlines commercial plane were safely evacuated. There's news reports of 2 pets not being able to be saved.
Oh, jeez.
As a pet owner, I hate that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the coastal plane lost 5 of their people on board. The captain is still alive.
Yeah.
So there's a full investigation going on. So that was like, as the the whole news cycle turns into 24 hours about the earthquake, and they go, oh, by the way, this plane bursted into flames, and 5 people died and 400 people almost died. And I was just like, and then there was a random stabbing incident in Tokyo, Akihabara.
Oh,
a lot of people
right.
been there. The electric city.
Lots of tourists go there. Yeah.
Somebody grabbed a knife, went on the train, stabbed 5 people or 4 people.
Oh, gosh.
3 of them are in critical condition. But so yeah, the last 5 days of 2024, I want a refund,
dude. And I hate to be the Debbie Downer, but I have one more to add. At the Salt Lake City airport, a guy broke out through a fire exit, went onto the tarmac, and got into the engine compartment of an airplane. And as it began taxiing, apparently perished.
And then there's the train collision in New York.
So yeah, like, what the fuck is up with 2024? You thought 2020 was bad. What the fuck is happening in 2024?
2024 is like, hold my beer, let me fuck you.
Yeah, right? It's like 5 days in, and we're like, what?
I'm a bit disaster worn out right now.
Yeah, I'm ready for just some chill days.
So
maybe that means the rest of the year is just going to be, everything's going to be rainbows and unicorns. So
not knock on wood. I'm like, it was a rough couple of days for the last intro, but luckily none of them has directly affected me. But you get sucked into that negative vibe that this, the negative vibe that all of this stuff generates. So it's been rough.
Yeah, my heart definitely goes out to everyone in Japan, everyone affected by the earthquakes and the tsunamis and the disasters, and my heart definitely goes out to all of them, and especially the Japanese Coast Guard. Man, that's just horrific. So
so if that earthquake didn't happen,
man,
that airplane didn't go up in flames.
Well, here's the thing, Alcantara is obviously very emotional about this, and we all feel for him and feel for Japanese people and all that.
Where are you going with this?
Saying, but so now it's time to send him some Club Martes or something like that.
Yes. Oh man, I would die
or some
for
Celsius.
Celsius. Yeah.
I just looked up Celsius. A 6-pack cost me $80 here, so I'm not buying that.
Okay, well, I'm gonna get you some cheaper than that, because I bought a 24-pack for $15 at Walmart.
Enough of catching up. Let's go move on to the show. Not
enough of catching up, dude. That was very meaningful and thoughtful, and I miss you guys. And I'm ready to start a new year and turn a new
one
page.
word to
Happy New Year.
all the people who subscribed or not subscribed or who are watching this channel. Stay safe.
Yeah,
2024 is out to kill you.
Right. It's or not. I mean, it may just try to do weird things to you. So just stay safe. Be prepared. Be prepared out there.
So I have a quick couple updates from previous content that we did. Obviously, the Flipper episode we did last year is one of our most popular videos. There has been a couple updates. There is now Wall of Flipper. So
like the Wall of Sheep.
Kaomi and Gang have put together a Wall of Flippers, which is the Wall of Sheep Flipper version. It will list all the Bluetooth stuff. At the same time, MG reached out to us, talked about the episode. He saw the episode and he said, one thing that not a lot of people talk about are the kids who are taking legal risks without being aware of operating the device. I think that's a very fair opinion. This isn't about ethics or anything. It's like, you know, the old discussion we had is like, do you need to have a criminal record to be a real hacker? And I don't think that's the case anymore. Back in the days, we didn't have any option, and there was no law, right? So, but I think the cool factor sometimes, you know, when I was a kid, if I was a teenager now, I would definitely be going around with a flipper doing shit,
Right.
And I think we talked about this in our episode too, that the older we are now is that we kind of aware of what are the implied risks of it, which might not be the case, you know.
If we want to just want to rewind a little bit, and you know, MG is the dude who made
Oh yeah, sorry.
What was that?
See, that's why we have Iceman.
Context. Iceman is our context man. Good job, Iceman.
Here.
He created the
everyone takes for
OMG
granted
cables, works with Hack 5, manufactures his own cables in his garage, done trainings at Black Hat, friend of the program, friend of mine. Love that dude from years and years. Intelligent. When he sees a problem, he dives deep into it. Shout out to MG for sure.
And the thing is, he got kind of emotionally invested in that Twitter thread, what you're mentioning there. It's a long one there. It was like covering the different aspects of a BLE spamming, and it was more of, you know, and that turned out for this in this reach out for us, because he saw the episode and he thought that we had some interesting takes on it, instead of just saying that it's a bad thing to do. I think let's just leave the moral discussions out of things, and just, you know, have a love for technology, and also understand, you know, what happens, you know, the consequences, you know.
And the consequences are significantly higher than, for example, when I started, because of shit that my generation did. The younger generation has to somewhat be put into a framework of
I mean, and part of that is too, like, you have nomenclature, like, where people are saying that a action happened and they say a hacker did this, and it's like, no, a criminal did a cyber attack against your organization. We still have that nomenclature, and like people have been fighting against that forever. It's still there, right? And so I think that's some of the problem, is it's like guilty till proven innocent, right? So now there's more ways to be guilty than ever, right? It's super easy, and tools are making it even more easy. Between Portapack, Flipper, you're one step away from somebody like knocking on your door, or even the Pineapple, right? You could be doing the Pineapple and be doing some bad things with, you know, all these off-the-shelf tools that didn't exist when we were kids. Like, it literally didn't exist. So
anybody, stay legal, stay safe. If you do illegal shit, don't brag about it on TikTok. Don't be stupid. You know,
if you do, at least get enough lols and enough likes and lols to pay
social
for your
media
lawyer
clout
fees.
is not worth it. I mean,
okay, and here's the thing too. Like, in my life, like, I've been operating in gray areas for sure, especially because there's like case precedents with like the Google and like capturing Wi-Fi, and like I've definitely done some gray area shit in other countries. And every single time that I've done it, I have gone to some sort of consultation, whether it's the EFF or other lawyers, and said, okay, what's the risk? And they're like, well, do you not want to visit that country ever again? I'm like, well, maybe let's just put an X on that one. I did it once, so maybe we won't go back. And so, like, some of the, like, those are the things sometimes you have to think about when you're doing these things. Like, we live in a gray area. Unfortunately, the law is not caught up to where cyber and tech is. Like, we live in a gray area. Like, even sometimes with my job and sometimes with what we do as professionals, it's like, we have a receipt that says, or a report that says that we're allowed to do a thing, but it's like, at the end of the day, are we actually literally allowed to do that? Like, we've had hackers that have been arrested under like work, and because they operated slightly out of scope. And so, at the end of the day, like,
or
be careful.
I don't want to give out names, but a good friend of ours, Jason, person A.
Person A Street.
Person A
Street.
J.A. Street.
J.A. Street. Jason, we're looking at you.
Who robbed the wrong bank.
So love Jason to death.
Apparently there were two branch offices next to each other. you went into the wrong one as part of the test. If
you know
you
what?
don't know
And
the story, you should ask him on Twitter.
Totally.
They did a video about that.
I've robbed banks too. Like I've been able to rob banks in my career, and
Dear feds, I have nothing to do with these criminals.
It's not hard. It's not hard to
Please
be
don't
out of
involve
scope.
me.
It's not. It's literally not hard to be out of scope.
But it's like the cases of tools like the MZ catcher, right?
Right.
Like,
Oh, totally.
Launching the MZ catcher, people are like, "Oh, it's okay." It's like, no, it's not okay.
Because
It's
I'm
an
capturing
act.
those.
It's
No,
an
like
act.
you're broadcasting
Yeah.
to do that, and
Right,
that's
so-
right. And,
But if you
and-
don't know,
and-
you don't know, right?
and that's the problem. Is like some of these tools make it so easy that it's like, oh, well, the tool just says press go, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, I don't know that I'm doing something wrong. So
Right.
stay safe out there.
Stay safe, stay legal. If you get busted, we had nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
We don't know
Tell
you.
us more about when you hacked the
Unsubscribe
bank.
for our channel.
or come on our show and tell us about your leak hacks. Don't worry, Kantara will like blur your face and all that. So
Yeah,
I'm sure we could have some fun episodes.
Boys.
I have a couple news items that I wanted to cover.
The news.
The news.
Let's take it to the news.
The first thing I wanted to cover, which I thought was kind of cool. NASA used a laser beam to transmit the first Ultra HD video from deep space.
Oh,
That's fucking amazing.
Right?
The technology advances.
The technology is just like is ridiculous in a way that they used a basically it's an optical communication but point to point.
Can I segue?
Yeah.
Did you know the first use of high-speed optical interconnection networking?
No.
Tell us.
Day trading in New York, building to building. People wanted to have like instantaneous day trading. So they had these giant arrays. They were like this big. That was the receiver with the laser on the other side. And they were literally doing like Morse code to transmit data to be able to do day trading faster between buildings. That was the first like instance of high-speed laser communication. And
So-
now it's like doing stuff for NASA, like
Yeah.
bringing high-speed images back from space. That's
So
incredible.
on December 11th, NASA used a laser to stream a 50-second clip of a cat named Taters to Earth from a spacecraft that's 19 million miles, 80 times the distance to the moon.
Okay, I just want to point out there
Now
was an
here-
engineer that was like, we need to put a picture or a video of a cat on a spacecraft that we're
No,
launching
but
to outer space.
Here's the amazing thing. That communication had 267 megabits per second.
That's good transfer speed,
That's
man.
that's a pretty big chunk of bandwidth from
That's
deep
better than I
space,
get
right?
on my cell phone.
right?
I think it's amazing, given the idea of communications when we're going to do it to Mars.
So that's
Having live
that's the
videos
background of it is right. They're trying to find ways to communicate with Mars once people start going there, right?
Oh, optical is going to be highly important. Laser optical communication.
Now
for sure.
imagine you're an alien flying around Earth and go, what the fuck is this laser? You turn it on and you see like a cat, right? You go, wait, this is not the primary creature on Earth that we were looking at. This is like that other thing that they
Is
have
this the
around their
dominant
house.
race?
Okay,
Where's
what
the
if
cats?
maybe the cats are the dominant race, but also what if the aliens have a wiggle-like program for like laser beams that are being shot out in the universe?
Right?
Okay, we need to get Arc on laser
Yeah.
wiggle. Do we have a laser wiggle yet?
I want to
But
have a side note on this one though.
Yeah.
In Berlin during the Cold War in the 60s, they developed this microburst. So the spies, when they're trying to report home back from east to west, they developed this little microwave transmitter. So they just made a quarter of a second bursts of communications that was non-interceptable in that sense because it was so slow. It was also made by light, but in the infrared spectrum, I think it was. That kind of technology has been around for a long time to doing things and to making secure. In the military aspects, and back then, it's like the shorter amount of time you are visible on the spectre, the better for non-interceptance. And today, I think it's kind of opposite with the crypto and all that stuff. Imagining sending not bursts, imagine this laser sending this stuff. A laser is very high focus point. How on earth are you going to like point that directly? It's like you have to be very precise.
yeah.
To Mars
Or have a giant target that it shoots against.
Right.
So,
So
you could have a giant receiver, a giant target that it hits against.
I don't think it's a visible laser that they use, but
Oh,
basically,
definitely not visible.
right. It hit the antenna array from
big
deep
was that
space.
antenna?
Well, and then here's the thing that they'll do too, because we have an atmosphere here on Earth.
Right.
And so it might make sense to bounce it off of another satellite that's the receiver in space, because you won't get any attenuation in space because there isn't any atmosphere to scatter the spectrum, the frequency that it's there, that it doesn't get attenuated by the atmosphere, and then relay it back to Earth using a more effective mechanism. So I don't know how this one was set up, but
so apparently
there's definitely
the
been
video
some theories with
was
that.
received at Palomar Observatory. Then it was sent to JPL over the internet to be decoded. The irony is that the speed between the observatory and JPL was slower than the bandwidth of the space laser.
Well, and that what's crazy is, like, if you take, for example, let's say you had it in deep space and you use the James Webb Telescope in infrared, for example, like, and you had a broadcast out there, like the James Webb could be an excellent receiver for transmitting that type of stuff back to Earth. So, side note, I'm a huge nerd about.
No, but when I read this news,
JSV
I had a childhood memory come back to me of a movie called The Cat from Outer Space, which was released in 1978.
Yes.
See,
Really nice.
See, Iceman is old enough to remember.
Yeah,
dude, I watched this as a kid. The neck bracelet. Yeah, totally. I remember that shit.
Totally.
Yeah, I had a babysitter that made me watch it, and I loved it.
Now
So
I feel
I was
old.
like, this is literal. No, I saw it in the movie theater. So I was
Me
like,
too.
this is literally a cat from outer space, almost. I mean, cat from outer space. But yeah, if you haven't seen the clip itself, which is on YouTube, it's going to be in the show notes. It's actually a cat chasing a laser, which is it makes it so meta inside each other. Right? It's like,
I didn't know that that's the clip they used.
yeah, so there's
Oh
a
my
cat on
gosh,
the
yeah,
sofa.
that is super meta.
It's chasing a laser pointer, right?
Okay, whoever at NASA picked that up
Good.
needs a huge raise.
Yeah, so the
Like,
press release,
10,000%.
I'll put it in the show notes, but it's a wonderful press release. It's just one of those make you feel happy kind of news. It's like this is awesome tech, and it's at the same time it's also very fun and joyful. So
Okay, side note, did you know we can use lasers to propel space solar
yeah.
cells
Solar
in
cells.
space? Yeah.
yeah.
All right, lasers is dope. I love lasers. These are all the
that's
things.
because actually light has gravity but no mass or something like that.
See,
isn't
that's
it?
why we have Iceman for insights like that.
That was one of his strangest things, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to propel something if you don't have anything that bounces off the sail. So you have to be an influence.
That's
yeah.
very true.
So I always thought it was massless and gravitationless, but it apparently doesn't. One of them, I might be wrong. It either has mass or it has.
I'm
I think
sure
it has
some Star
mass.
Trek
I think the
fan,
photons
Star
have
Trek
mass.
fan is gonna go. Well, actually,
I want actually in the comments. Let's have a actually discussion
Yes.
in the comments.
Yes.
I want formulas. I want formulas. God damn it!
Be like
Formulas and proofs, not
So
copy
that's
and paste
the
from
idea with that one was
ChatGPT.
if you
Oh,
have
no.
infinite propulsions, you would get.
See, Iceman has the
infinite
technical
speed
know-how, just not the English ability to explain what he wants us to tell us.
I do actually. Sometimes I have some stuff. Yeah, that would be kind of interesting because you will keep on increasing the speed for things, and you can travel to other stars eventually. They can have come up to the speed of light. But the problem is not that. The problem is braking. Because you have a massive amount of speed that you need to break down to zero.
Well, we just need to send a satellite deep in the other direction that shoots a laser back the other way.
Is that practically like the skiing, like run into a tree to stop kind of thing?
Exactly. See, Qatar gets it. Just run us into a planet and see what happens.
Right.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you can do that. You can bend it around things. Yeah, but that usually increases speed. Okay.
see, this is
Art was really good at that stuff. He seems to be
see, this is
sharpest brain
Iceman
around.
going off in his mind, doing all the
It's intelligent.
calculations. We're gonna
I don't
see
do
like
calculations.
we're gonna see like a Proxmark add-on that like you can communicate with your Proxmarks over lasers now. High bandwidth,
Dude, actually, that would be sick. Okay, a long range.
Get back on track. Okay.
Can we file
Back to the
feature
news.
requests by just being on the show?
So the other,
I'm sure you don't have a backlog of feature requests at all. Do you?
right. The other news bit that I wanted to cover was actually one of the Twitter followers, Dustin, pointed it out. There was a video of a guy going up to his neighbor, and because the neighbor had a ring cam, asked if he could have the Wi-Fi password because he's been using it, and now there's a password on it. Right.
Change password.
And that grew a slew of comments, and the videos gone viral. Piggybacking of
With
other
lots
people's
of
Wi-Fi
agendas.
has never been a new thing. It's always been the case, right? That's why you always should have a password on your Wi-Fi, unless you are altruistic and want to share it with everybody, or you're a
Right.
part of the open roaming coalition, or your ISP does it, or you're a phone user or whatnot. But if you go to YouTube and you search for crazy neighbors asking for Wi-Fi password, there's like a shit ton of videos of it, right? And like they all seem so entitled of using your Wi-Fi, right? Now the question is Wi-Fi public property in that sense? Now Canada, for example, I think has defined access to the internet as a basic human right, the ability to communicate over the internet.
Well, and there's
Okay,
That's
I
a
like
bit
where you're
different.
going.
programs. There's been programs in the U.S. that do that as well, and use that to justify funding for rural internet programs. So there's a lot of people in the U.S. who have internet in rural areas, high speed internet in rural areas, thanks to that same mentality. So.
But like in the case
But-
of like this earthquake, for example, right now, the major carriers, because their infrastructure is, the cell phone network has been damaged to a certain degree, they have deployed mobile units that can deploy mobile Wi-Fi networks that can allow some connectivity. So they have
Right.
this free disaster area Wi-Fi. And I think Cisco has a team that they can launch into disaster zones, war-torn zones, to provide basic internet access for information sharing, right?
Side note, that would be a dope ass job. What's that, Mr. President? Send me out to set up internet? Done.
That's
I
very
would do that job.
Thunderbirdish.
Isn't that what Corvin goes like, hey, Starlink, can we get some receivers? That's what
Except for it'd be like, oh, how much am I getting paid? No, it's like, just send me out. I'll go set this shit up and get us going again.
Yeah.
Well, free Wi-Fi or free internet is of course interesting, and I think the law is not backing it up, because every time it's like saying that you're responsible for what's going on your IP address,
Right.
makes it the free Wi-Fi aspect very, very hard to fulfill. Even if you want to give that in emergency
I mean,
scenarios,
the question comes up then, who takes the responsibility of downloaded content, right? If your neighbor is hosting like a questionable content torrent on your Wi-Fi, I mean, we've seen this in the news all the time, like people getting sued because their neighbor was
not even sued, just like getting your service shut down. Like Comcast will be like, if you download a torrent on your network, let's say your neighbor's using free Wi-Fi, they'll be like, oh, by the way, you have a strike. One more of those will shut your service off. Xfinity will do that.
So is Wi-Fi public property? I don't think so. I do think internet access could be a basic human right. I mean, there are very bigger problems than internet access. I understand that too, but
internet access, it's like saying newspapers should be free for everybody. What?
Well, I mean, kind of. I mean, the problem though is there's so much more utility to the internet than newspapers. So I think that it's like evolved to a whole different level. And I think one of the biggest issues, they started out offering it for free. Right. So you established a precedent that it was free to begin with. And then it's like, oh, shit, maybe I just learned how to configure my router. If you never intended to offer free Wi-Fi, like that's on you, and that's a situation you have to deal with now that's turned into the real world of somebody potentially showing up to your house. And it's like, I think that's a problem of technology that we need to educate more people, because we literally failed people, and we're not providing a secure solution out of the box. That's what I think. I think that it's being implemented wrong. If somebody can plug in a router and it's not secure and your neighbor's able to use it for free, and if you didn't intend it for them to be fully free, and that's some of these videos, I wonder if it's like, okay, well, like maybe they just flip the script and want to be a dick now because they want to get like the reaction.
Yeah, but it was going to be this entitlement. People feel very entitled. So
yeah, but you started out offering it for free. Yeah, but you started it out offering for free. If you should have secured it.
Offering is different. If you go out offering, then you go out and say, hey, neighbors, you can use
with how easy it is to secure. You can literally get your router, click like 3 clicks.
Yeah, I know.
Like there's no reason you should have an insecure network at this point in the world.
That is true.
And so it's like the entitlement comes from the fact that you started it as free. You offer, it's like, okay, Iceman, you're going to come over to lunch every day and eat lunch with me. And then tomorrow I'm going to charge you for your lunch. How are you going to feel about that?
No. It's not like that. It's going to be like
sure it is. It's the exact same because it's like
different. That's your offer.
You're inviting it by essence of not securing it.
I think it's a bit different because you are actively inviting Iceman over for lunch, right?
Yeah,
There's a
exactly.
difference.
Just like an open Wi-Fi network is actively inviting people. There's Wiggle. You can literally go on Wiggle and find open Wi-Fi networks. And if you want to, you can go find those networks.
Look at it.
And people are trained that way. McDonald's, Wi-Fi, Delta, they're going to go drive to those places and get their free Wi-Fi.
And people come like, oh, here's free pie because it was free. It was a pie in the window. I took it and ate it. And you're like, who the fuck took my pie? No, well, it was there. It was free. It's like, you offer it. No, you didn't. I put it there to cool down and people just took it.
Okay, now put the pie on your mailbox. Put the pie on your mailbox and then tell me that I can't take your pie.
Of course you can't.
Why? Why can't I take your pie on your mailbox?
It's not your property.
Your mailbox is on the easement, which is public property.
If I put my car on the street, can you take it? No.
I don't have the keys,
no,
so
I think
can't
it's
get
closer.
in because it's secured.
I think it's closer to a urinal.
Then sure, I could drive it.
A urinal right next to your
right. If your car's unlocked, I could get in and drive it.
Be able to is not
right. That's what I'm saying.
Doesn't mean it's legal.
Right.
Taking
sure.
And property is illegal.
And by the letter of the law, sure, because the law hasn't caught up. Yes, it could be technically be theft of services, right? But at the same time, like, you should secure it, just like you should lock the keys to your car. If you leave $100 on your dashboard and don't lock your car, what do you think is going to happen to the $100?
Yeah, the thing is,
going to take a ride on your car. Wait, no, what?
But you know, you were saying that it's an entitlement. It's something that we can have. It's something, a human basic right. So if you see an open car and it's $100 in, it's your human right to take.
But the difference
no,
is...
but that's... No, Iceman, I think you're wrong, because you're now justifying porch pirates, right?
Right.
If I leave my Amazon package outside because I'm not home, I'm okay with that. That doesn't mean somebody can go take it.
Well, that's what I mean. The difference is I don't need what's in your Amazon box. I may need the ability to connect to the internet to be able to check the email that the government sends me information about what I'm getting paid for, to check my healthcare information, to check my power bill, to check my things. So many services now are connected.
Internet to people, then the internet should be free for everyone, not that the one who pays for the service.
And I would love that society.
I don't know, man. Government-owned Wi-Fi access just sounds like a horrible...
As someone who formerly was an internet service provider, I was absolutely aware of the last mile problem. The last mile problem is where it is extremely difficult to offer internet service to the end user because the most expensive part of the internet is the last mile to the customer. It's the most expensive to install. It's the most expensive to support. It's the most expensive everything. And unfortunately, there isn't a way to properly provide that. However, you continually have all of these big services and governments and companies that are throwing things that act like utilities, but we don't have the internet marked as a utility. And so, of course, people are going to try to get access to it for free or for cheap or for ways that they can. And yes, there's a huge gap there. We absolutely need to provide more internet to more people as cheaply as possible so that they can access it. So we don't have these issues. And again, like, we're talking about like edge cases of worst case scenarios. Most people secure their shit.
In the same breath, an article just came out that Mexican cartels are now providing Wi-Fi to locals, and they are threatening locals with death if they don't use it and pay for it.
I mean, over the last year, we've
cartels
talked about
are like, yo,
cities in Texas that have offered
connect to my
Wi-Fi at
to my SSID.
Around the town.
I will fuck you up if you don't pay. You know, they call them.
Hey, you gotta. If the customers aren't paying for your drugs, they might as well pay for your Wi-Fi, right?
I don't think that's the case though, because these are not the same customers. They're like setting up Wi-Fi access points with antennas. They're called narco antennas, and they're going into neighborhoods extorting people money. Any organized crime has in any country, in Japan, in the US, where they come around.
Guess what? In the US, they're called Xfinity. They put cable on the line, and they come into your house and they say, "Okay, we'll give you internet for $50," and then next month it's $120. All right, so like cartel, Xfinity, they're all the fucking same, man.
Yeah, but Xfinity doesn't threaten you to kill you if you don't pay and use the Wi-Fi.
You don't know. You don't know, man.
Hey, Xfinity, just in case you wanted to sponsor us, that's Mike's personal opinion, not the show's opinion.
Well, I wanted to cover that idea with free Wi-Fi. I ran the Pornogotchi for some time here in my neighborhood. You know, I tried to explain to my kids what you were doing. what I was doing.
Just a disclaimer: I have no idea.
Yeah,
of Swedish,
disclaimer.
Swedish
That's
legal
illegal
laws.
behavior
If
in
it's
the US.
illegal,
Please do not run.
of course,
Please
of course,
do not run Ponagachis on your neighborhood. That could be construed as connecting and clients off of their network in the United States.
if you're the
Not a
Shadow
lawyer.
King of Sweden, you
Consult your
can get
lawyer
away with a
before
lot of
running
shit.
Ponagachi.
You know?
I don't run a Ponagachi.
Anyway, yes, I ran the Ponagachi. I explained to my kids, so what can you do? I'm like, well, you could connect to that network, and and you can use it to get internet. And they look at me like I was stupid. I was like, but we have our phones for that. Why would I use someone else's Wi-Fi? It's like everybody has Wi-Fi in Sweden, or access to internet.
But a lot of people don't distinguish
on
between wireless and Wi-Fi
plan,
anymore, right?
A 5 gig a month data plan, and then they'll figure out how to get extra internet.
The thing is, it's the access to internet we're talking about. How you access it doesn't matter to them. It's just that we have access to that internet. Like you were saying, Dark, that became then, why should I hook up to someone else's Wi-Fi? It's like strange for them. It's like, why would I do that? It's like, well, you can get free Wi-Fi. Yeah, but I already have free Wi-Fi. Like, well, daddy pays for your phone bill, but that's a different story.
Yeah, that seems like a parenting lesson that needs to happen about metering internet connections. Imagine when they get throttled to I don't know, 56K. Be like, hey, this is what I grew up with.
That was fast when I was growing up. Like 24, but no, I think Mike is right in a sense that now I don't know. I haven't bought a cheap router in ages now. I don't think routers come with no password on them. I think by default they come with a password that you have to punch in that you can change later.
It's like VPS, WPS, right?
Right. I mean,
that's the simplest way to connect.
But that's not a thing anymore, right? I mean, a lot of people are now used to punching in a password anyway. So, I mean, unless you have like an old thing running with no password intentionally, it's almost really hard to run a free Wi-Fi unless you're proprietor of a business and you're allowing it for your customers, right?
Yeah.
As a personal router, I don't think there's a router out there that doesn't require a password.
No, when I see
now,
it on
I'm saying it could be the default password. It couldn't, it can be that people don't know how to, like my parents don't know how to change their password. That's for sure. But it's secure. It's random enough that you have to make an effort to crack it. Free Wi-Fi on a personal level almost feels intentional in getting this kind of, or you don't want a password, right? I have a guest network here that doesn't have a password, but that's a separate segment. But that's just me being nerding out, and I have friends who have segmented everything, right? So
well, and I do too. I have a fully open Wi-Fi network, and it's segmented and it's limited to 5 megabit. And it's like, you want to drive and use the internet in front of my house, and guess what? There has been some very interesting DNS queries that have come up on that network.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah,
but you're logging everything.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm running a Pi hole. I'm running a Pi hole on it, and like there's some filtering on it. And then at the end of the day, it's like, guess what? I'm your ISP. I used to run an ISP. I ran an ISP for 3 years. So like that's still in my blood. I still want to do that. And it's like, this is my ability to give back to people who want to connect free Wi-Fi. So, and 5 megabits, not a big deal. Like when I've got a gig, get what you're going to get. And it doesn't impact anything very much. So, and then I've got a bunch of stuff, with Pi-hole, like Katara said, nerding out.
So that's it. Write in the comments, what do you think about Wi-Fi? Is it a public property that should be free to everybody, or is it public property is not necessarily means it should be free for everybody?
I feel like it should be more like a utility, and for those who can't afford it, definitely should be subsidized. People should be able to get more access to it. So,
well, let's keep on track on this one a little bit more. I think in Sweden we have a lot of governmental services is now available on internet, and there's no offices, so you have either phoning or you use an internet service in order to do your communications with them, and that implies that you do have access to internet, and that the government forces you to have internet, must have internet in order to be able to communicate with them. And when they do it in that case, that would mandate for the government to actually make sure that there is.
No, I think that's
for the whole population.
I think there is a argument there to be made that governments should be able to provide free internet access at specific points within a specific location. But at the same
Well,
time, we go back to the last mile issues that's fine for bigger cities. But if you live in bumfuck corner of the state that nobody ever visits, where there is no government property, you'll have to travel like, I don't know, 12 hours on a sled to get to your nearest post office.
I drove for an hour and a half through no cell service on 2 different carriers, and there is
Wow.
no cell service today. And I drove about, there was houses and there was other things, and like that's just the reality of what it is. And like, yes, the ideal would be that yes, you have like all of these services are becoming a utility, they're becoming integrated into it. Yes, you would have some sort of like providing of internet service, and we're getting definitely a diverse amount of ways to provide those services, whether it's through Starlink. I used it on my trip to Montana, where probably 60% of my trip this summer was no internet, and was able to get internet through Starlink. So big fan of what I was able to do with that. There just isn't a simple solution to fix all these problems, because people choose to live in a bunch of different places. So it's not an easy problem. It's complicated. And honestly, Iceman, dude, I get where you're coming from, and I feel you, and I totally argue all day long on your side of the fence too. And but
to.
like,
if you don't have any good argument,
no, and it's fun because I like this side of the argument, because I very much am a person that wants like the proliferation of it, and I want the proliferation of it to be cheaper. So I'm very much on that end of the spectrum of how do we get it into people's hands.
Now
like,
I have to ask, how much do you pay for internet in your different countries? You're all from across the world.
So my Starlink, when I was using Starlink over the summer, that was $135 a month. My cell phone plan to be able to get Verizon, and I only get 4G Verizon, but I'm grandfathered on an unlimited plan. I've been grandfathered onto it since 2011, and I pay $165 a month for that. My home internet for my gig, I pay $135 a month for my gig. 300 megabits for my kids, I pay $85 a month for that. That's my internet bills.
Wow.
That doesn't include my AWS. That doesn't include my Google Cloud. That doesn't include my NordVPN, my 3 other VPN services that I use as well.
So if you're a VPN provider and want to sponsor the show, hit me up.
If you want to sponsor any of my fucking internet bills, let me know.
So Kentaro, what's your, what do you pay?
Yeah, but I have a 10 gig fiber plan with my cell phone.
I have a 10 gig fiber. None of my plans were above a gig. Like I had one, and like, so I'm so jelly. This is me. This is my jealous face.
Yeah.
Go on, Kentaro. Tell me more of your 10 gig.
My cell phone provider has selected a couple areas within Tokyo to test their 10 gig fiber internet, and my house that I live in just happens to be there, but it's all tied into my cell phone bill, right? So I don't have just the pricing for that.
And side note, because like I'm highly passionate about this, like I said, I had an internet company, ran an internet company, a last mile internet company for years.
We got it.
My friends in Romania, $45 a month for up to a gig.
Yeah. So I pay, what is it, for my 4G for my phone? I pay $9 a month.
But yeah, it's not. It's in the 150 to 120, 150 range, depending on my cell phone usage.
And I got this fiber at home for broadband for 500 up and 100 down. Oh,
but my down. Yeah. The pricing that is on their website, based on pure bandwidth wise, it's a 2-year contract, which means I have to use it at least for 2 years, renews every 2 years. It's 6,500 yen ish, so that's close to $40 for 10 gig fiber.
Yeah, the internet in the US sucks. Internet prices,
man.
Yeah.
The Xfinity price, the Xfinity.
I can't max it out.
The Xfinity account that I was talking about, that's 300 megabits, and that's $135 a month. And they just tried to like scam it, make it $175 a month by sending a Roku like streaming device and saying it's a free upgrade, but it changed the monthly amount. So
I pay about $40 for a month for that 500, and I should be about $80 if I want to have a gigabits.
I just remembered one more. Me and Henry, we have a dedicated fiber line that's 100 megs up, 100 megs down, and that's $385 a month for a business dedicated fiber line.
Mine is not dedicated, right? It's best effort 10 gigs. So I don't get the full 10 gigs ever.
Oh, sure. I mean,
Right,
like I would be happy with 100 megs on a 10 gig line.
Yeah.
Like I can't even guarantee that on any of my shit here. Yeah, the last mile internet is a huge problem. Okay. So Iceman, just to circle back around, when you hear some of these people complaining about internet and like getting free internet or maybe even cheap internet, I'm sure they'd be happy to pay your $9 a month to get your 4G access, and that wouldn't be a problem at all. The problem is they're getting free internet, and then their alternative is fucking $85 a month.
That's a different story, isn't it?
I ran a test of my home fiber like 2 months ago because we had some issues. I got 909 meg download and 850 meg upload speeds on that 10 gig line. So I don't get a full 10 gig, but.
Hey, Guitar, I have a server if you want to just start pushing stuff up, and let's just see how long we can max it out for. We'll just do iPerf. Just do iPerf tests all day long. Run it for like 2 weeks until somebody
But
complains.
like I said, I mean, a lot of my stuff at home is wireless, so it's like I can't max out that. I mean, that 900 meg count is because it's hardwired GigaSwitch desktop.
Dude, get this. So in 2014, this is a long time ago, I know things have changed since then. I was paying $3,000 a month for a 300 megabit by 300 megabit synchronous dedicated internet line that I was reselling to all my customers.
I had
$3,000 a month for that.
I had a 128K digital dedicated line that I paid $150 a month for. But it came with a full Class C address, so I was like, okay.
Dude, one of my customers, they had a T1 in 2008 or 2009. They had a T1, 1.5 megabits, for those keeping track at home, $1,800 a month for that T1. And it was like a dedicated T1, like legit old freaking 32 wires T1. It was nasty. It was a nasty, nasty circuit. And then
luckily, but
the
changed.
Phone company came in and changed it, and they swapped it to basically a T1 over DSL and replaced all those wires with 2 wires. It was so wild. That blew my mind that you could take a T1 and turn it to 2 wires.
Those are the days.
Those were the days.
Back to the news.
My grandma had 2 phone lines, and I would run my modems shotgun on both lines. And it would be awesome until somebody would pick up the line. And then, so that's when I'd start using the internet from like 1 a.m. because everyone would go to sleep until like 5 a.m. until my grandpa would wake up to go to work.
I mean, I'm old enough that back in college, like local calls after 12 were free. So we just call up the local ISP, and just leave it on for the night.
Cash in all those AOL 30-day free trials.
I remember starting at the uni in '94, and we had like email address for the first time, and free internet, and they encouraged you to do internet. Netscape, that old browser, that Mosaic.
Oh, Netscape was dope, man.
Yeah, and sitting there and try to do
Netscape
things.
Navigator Gold. Anyone use Netscape Navigator Gold?